So LeBron James is the GOAT. Before I go into my reasons, I have very specific reasons why I believe he's the greatest of all time. But before I go into the reasons, I have to give some context. So I have to tell my bias. So I played AAU basketball heavy when I was younger, from the ages of 11 to 17. So AAU back then, it wasn't like what it is today. But it was still a big deal. And my AU team, we went to national tournaments and all that stuff. So while I was on that circuit, you hear about the LeBron Jameses of the world, and I'm from North Carolina, so I played against Chris Paul every year from the time we were 11 to like 16, 17 years old. And all the people in between, people that went to Carolina, people that went to major D1 schools, my team was playing them, and I was also pretty good in basketball in high school. I played basketball all 4 years in high school, so I was in it. It wasn't just like, oh, I was in it. I was involved, and I was pretty good. I was decent. So I remember going to a national tournament when I think I was 15, because we won a national tournament the year before, and I was 14, and we had an automatic bid to the nationals. And I remember seeing like microphones and boom microphones and these big video cameras following this team from Ohio around. And me and my boys, me and my teammates was like, man, who is this? Like, who is this? And all that stuff. Well, it turns out it was LeBron James. So knowing about LeBron from that point on, and then being able to follow his career, I've always been biased. And I tell people to this day, I've always been biased. I want him to be the greatest because I can tell my kids that I got to share the same courts with LeBron James and all that good stuff. So I just wanted to get that out the way. Whenever people are arguing about different things, they don't share their bias. I am biased, but I do want to follow this up to tell you why he's the greatest, but most importantly, why it matters to you, because most people just argue just to feel like they're right, to validate themselves. So I'm not arguing that LeBron is the greatest because it's like him being the greatest is going to help me outside of having bragging rights. But I want to just lay out some things. First and foremost, I'm going to give you what the thing is, like why he's the greatest, and then how it's going to help you in your life. And I'm not taking any questions or any retorts because you're wrong if you think that he's not the greatest. So just get that out the way. And I'm specifically talking to a couple of people that are tuned in, who don't believe that LeBron is the greatest. So number one, his stats. Number one, his stats. And if he wasn't breaking all of the records, if he hadn't broken the all-time scores, all-time scoring record, we wouldn't be talking about him. If he hadn't have been the youngest to 10,000, to 20,000, to 30,000 points, we wouldn't be talking about him. So his stats make the conversation happen, period. Oh, LeBron, all he's doing is stat chasing. Well, guess what, people? That's the name of the game. When people discredit his stats, I feel like it's the same way people discredit people that have money. Oh, he just got money. Money's a big deal. It's not everything. It's not everything, just like stats aren't everything. But it's a heck of a way to start counting whether enough stuff matters. So his stats, he has amazing stats. You don't talk about him unless he has amazing stats. Also, longevity through that. He's available and he's capable. Now, what's the lesson for you and I? Be available, be capable. There's a saying that goes like this: what you do on the floor speaks for itself. Let your play speak for itself. In whatever industry you're in, whatever job you have, let your performance speak for itself. So people can't argue that. No one that's arguing against LeBron being the greatest is saying that he's not great. They're just mincing words. A lot of people in their jobs, they're not even mincing words whether or not you're great or not. Are you even adequate? Are you adequate at what you do? Are you average? I mean, we've gone to restaurants, we've gone to hotels, we've gone to different, but people not even adequate at doing their job. So what we can learn from that is be available and be capable. That's the first reason why he's the greatest. He's going to be number one in a lot of categories, but specifically the one that matters in basketball, points. Number two, his story. Undeniable. Was it manufactured? Is he in the Illuminati? Who knows? Whatever. Just a kid from Akron. Just a kid from Akron. Grew up to a single mom. Underserved. Poor. Thrusted into basketball. Became the most scrutinized high school player of all time and exceeded the hype. He exceeded the hype. He didn't meet the hype. He exceeded the hype. So I want you to understand that. He exceeded it. Again, I'll go back to my bias. When LeBron was on his rise, I was a teenager that wasn't him. I was hating. Like me and my boys, we was talking about it today. We used to call LeBron an X-Men. So, I appreciate that. That makes me feel really good. I appreciate that. Thanks so much. But we used to call LeBron an X-Man because when we saw him, it was like, first of all, he's a giant human. He's got to be from Africa somewhere, and he's got to have some vibranium. Like, it's not fair. Basically, it was like, it's not fair that he's that big, he's that strong, he's that fast, he's that coordinated. It's not fair. So we were saying that all along the way. But to hear about his story and where he came from, him and Steph Curry, by the way, were born in the same hospital, not at the same time for all you conspiracy theorists, but they were born in the same hospital in Akron, Ohio. LeBron came from nothing. Now, is being a gigantic human being with extraordinary abilities nothing? No, but his story is amazing. He exceeded the hype. He's the chosen one. A lot of people, can't believe he said that, but who's the chosen one in your story? Think about that. If you're not the chosen one in your story, then whose story are you even in? To be able to call yourself the chosen one. Think about that. A lot of people are they're humble, they're humbling themselves to no, we ain't got time for that. We don't have time for that. You be the chosen one. So the lesson from that is be the chosen one in your story. Because when LeBron said, I'm the chosen one, it automatically did something in marketing that we love. It made people choose. He's the chosen one. I don't like that. How dare he say that? But they're paying attention. They're watching him to fail, though. Oh, I love that. The chosen one. That's amazing. They're watching him to win. Either way, they watch him. Haters stayed up late last night watching LeBron. I don't want to see him get it. I don't want to see him get it. In your story, who are you making choose? You got to make people choose. So his stats, his story. Number 3, his partners. I'm not talking about, his Rich Paul and all those. I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about Nike. LeBron's sponsored by Nike. And one of the arguments that Jordan people say, like, oh, well, his kids were wearing Jordans and all that stuff. Look, that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter as it relates to him being the greatest. Nike elevated LeBron's platform. When he came out, you can do your own research, find out the story and all that stuff. He got an amazing deal from Nike, like a lot of athletes do. But he's used it to elevate himself. And platforms build credibility, visibility, and profitability. So what's the lesson for you and I? What platforms are you partnered with? Find one. Maybe even create one. That's why I'm bullish on public speaking. Public speaking thrusts you into a category of a platform. When you have a microphone and a stage, you're on a platform. And how you use that is up to you. He used his sponsorship, his partnership with Nike to go all the way up. but it was also coupled with this story, with the stats. And here's the last way that LeBron he's going to be the greatest. And before I jump into it, I just want to do a quick aside. A lot of people talk about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he was the all-time leading scorer. A lot of people didn't even know he was the all-time leading scorer. They had no clue. I'm not talking about basketball heads. I'm talking about the younger people. Kareem, who is that? They didn't know. And I joke about this, but it's serious. Why was Kareem not considered the greatest of all time? Because he wasn't obnoxiously marketed. Why do people consider Jordan the greatest? Jordan was great on the floor. 6-0 in the finals. Oh, my goodness. Jordan was marketed obnoxiously. Obnoxiously. Partnered with the media. I'm a LeBron James fan. And as many times as they played them videos on loop and everything last night and going in today, I was tired of it. You have to market obnoxiously, which leads me to the fourth point. The fourth reason why LeBron, and the final reason I'm going to talk about LeBron being the greatest, he literally became the media. He became the media. Always on. Think about the commercials, the LeBron commercials. You might be saying to yourself, yeah, Jordan did that. But here's what Jordan has not done yet. And I don't think he'll ever do it because he doesn't need to do it. LeBron has a podcast. He has a movie production studio. He has partnership deals with Showtime. LeBron makes movies. He became the media. You've heard me say this before, some of you, many of you. The greatest is not the greatest performer. People who are the greatest are the greatest at being promoted. If LeBron owns a movie company, he can put himself forever and ever, amen, in the stratosphere. He can get the rights to his documentaries and create biopics and do all of this stuff to whereas in 20 years, people are going to still rock Jordans, but they're not going to know who it is. Jordan's going to be just Jordan. Like Phil Knight created Nikes. If you don't know anything about Nike, you don't know Phil Knight. Phil Knight still paid, but you don't know him like that. They're going to know LeBron. He's going to make movies. Imagine when his sons go to the NBA, because they will. Both of them will. Can you imagine the fanfare that's going to get? Even if they're 12th men on the bench. He's always going to be able to stay in your view. That's why Jordan, to a lot of people, is the greatest, because you saw him. Because honestly, it should have been Kareem. But he wasn't marketed obnoxiously. So that's my take, y'all. LeBron James has changed it. He's the greatest of all time. He is. And he'll continue to be. And he's still playing at an amazing, amazing level. But what can you take from it? Well, I'll just say this. Get known so that you can get paid in your industry. You're not going to be LeBron James. Sorry. Not going to be Michael Jordan. Not going to be any of those people. You're going to be you, though. So be the best version of you that you can be. That's my time. If you have any questions, you have any comments, feel free. Feel free. I'm always open. Oh, so there's a question. How do I feel about Larry Bird? I would say Larry Bird is, based on what I've heard, I didn't see a lot of Larry growing up. Based on what I've heard, is Larry is about to become the greatest underrated player of all time, because Larry Bird is no longer the greatest small forward of all time. He used to be, but he's not anymore because of LeBron, Ramon, Eustachius, Miller, James. I don't know if that's his middle name or not. But, man, love Larry Legend, man. Larry Legend need to bring junk talking back to the game. That's just me. Hey, if you're looking at this on YouTube, y'all, make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you Share this. Make sure that you hit the bell. And hey, y'all know how we do. Get known, get paid. See you at the top, not from the top.